Hello everyone, how's it going? Today I'm going to show you guys how to make a red lily white. I know red lily whites are gorgeous. I have two of my own and I'm hoping to make some soon. And there are several ways to do them because red is recessive, and I say recessive because apparently the heterozygous form of red is a blush on the neck, so like the neck looks red when the individual has one copy of the gene instead of two, and then two copies of the gene would be a red base. What we're looking for in this video is to have two copies of the gene, so we want the red base plus one copy of the lily white gene. So what we're trying to get is two copies of the red gene and one copy of the lily white. There are several ways of getting here, and I'm going to show you guys what the best way and what the best ratios are. I'm not going to get into prices in this whole series. This is the part 2 of the series. The first video was how to make a Frappuccino Crested Gecko. If you haven't watched it yet, you can go and see it. It's only 7 minutes long, and you're going to learn what the best ways of making a Frappuccino Crested Geckos are. In this video, we're focusing on the red and lily traits, and we're hoping to get the red base and the lily white traits all together in one gecko. And as I've said, this is part 2 of this series. The part 0 is basically all the concepts that we're going to be going over. If you don't know much about genetics, you should probably watch that video. I'm going over the basic terms, how to do Punnet's course and all those things. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a red lily white crested gecko. When a dad and a mom have kids, they can each pass up to one copy to each one of the kids. Therefore, each kid that they have can have up to 2 copies of one gene. This means that the parents can either pass 0 copies to the kid, 1 copy to the kid, or 2 copies to the kid in total. The red base gene works like an incomplete dominant gene, although a lot of people consider it recessive because 1 copy of the gene does not show the red base, it just shows the red neck. I do consider it incomplete dominant because the 1 copy of the gene does show something. Therefore, 1 copy of the gene will show a blush on the neck, which acts like a red neck, and 2 copies of the gene will create a red base on the crested gecko, while no copies of the gene will obviously make a crested gecko that does not blush and does not look red at all. The lily white gene is a recessive lethal gene that works the exact same way than an incomplete dominant gene, however 2 copies of the gene will kill the crested gecko. Therefore, we're looking for that 1 copy of the gene instead of 2 or 0, while 1 copy of the lily white gene is what all lily white crested geckos are, and it is just one lily white crested gecko. A quick disclaimer here is, guys, as I've said a million times, you never pair up a lily white to a lily white crested gecko. A fourth of the babies out of a pairing of a lily white to a lily white will be non-viable kids, therefore they would either not hatch or die right after hatching. It's not something that you want to go through. You're not going to have as many kids. You're producing kids that might suffer if they hatch. You're basically making kids that are going to die with 100% guarantee. There is no one that has been able to make a super lily white. This is something that happens in every single animal. There are recessive lethal genes, which means that 2 copies of that gene kills the individual. Therefore, lily white to lily white is not a pairing that we want to go through. And even as a business, if you're caught doing this, people are gonna stop liking you, and you're going to be considered a bad breeder if people know that you're doing this, knowing the consequences of breeding a lily white to a lily white. Therefore, you never do this. Even if you want to make more lily whites, this is not the way. The ratios are going to be the same if you breed a lily white to a non-lily white than if you breed a lily white to a lily white. Therefore, there is no reason why you would ever breed a lily white to a lily white. Now let's get into the video. The first pairing I want to show you guys is a red base to a heterozygous for red base lily white crested gecko. The red base genotype is going to be big R, small l. As we've said before, the red base needs 2 copies of the gene. That's why we're putting big R instead of big R, small r, which would be just 1 copy. And then since it doesn't have the lily white gene, we're doing small l. The heterozygous red base lily white crested gecko, its genotype is going to be big R, big L. This means that it is carrying 1 copy of each gene. Therefore, the neck is going to show red, and it is going to be a lily white. The possible gametes from the red base are going to be big R and small l because the only possible combinations that we can do between these letters are big R and small l, while the heterozygous red lily white crested gecko gametes are going to be big R, big R, small big L, small r, small l. 25% of the kids are going to be big R, big L, small l, which is going to be a red lily white. It's carrying 2 copies of the red gene and 1 copy of the lily white gene, which is what we want. Another 25% of the kids are going to be a red base not lily crested geckos. Another 25% of the kids are going to be heterozygous red lily whites, and the final 25% of the kids are going to be heterozygous red not lily. As we see in this pairing, if we are focusing only on the lily white gene, half of the babies are lily white while the other half of the babies are not lily white. If we're focusing on the red base, half of the babies are red base while the other half are heterozygous red base, which means that they blush. Now you might be wondering why we didn't do this pairing first. This is a red base to a lily white. The reason is because we do not get any single red base lily white crested geckos with this pairing. We get 50% heterozygous red lily whites and 50% heterozygous red not lily white crested geckos. So all of the kids will blush, meaning that they will carry one copy of the red base gene, and that half of those crested geckos that blush is going to be lily white. However, none of the kids are going to have 2 copies of the red base gene, therefore none of them are going to have a red base. Now the best way in my opinion of making red base lily white crested geckos is by breeding a red base crested gecko to a red base lily white crested gecko. The only possible kids that we can have from this pairing are red base lily white crested geckos and red base not lily white crested geckos. Now, if you were to pair up red lily whites to red lily whites, all of the kids that you would have are red lily whites, because half of the kids that are being produced do not hatch. Since the red base super lily white crested geckos are not going to hatch, all of the babies from this pairing are going to be red lily white crested geckos. Now, as I've said a million times, I do not support this pairing because it involves lily to lily. If you do this, you're going to be considered a bad breeder. I'm going to consider you a bad breeder. There's tons of different ways of making red base lily white crested geckos, and there is a way of making them with a 50% chance as well, which is by breeding a red base to a red lily white. Therefore, if you breed a red lily white crested gecko to a red lily white crested gecko, you're either a bad breeder or you don't know what you're doing. And that's why I'm making these videos, to teach you guys the best way of making a crested gecko that has the genes that you want. Now going to the next pairing is a little bit more complicated because we are bringing more heterozygous into the game. The more heterozygous, the more complicated it's going to be. So here we have a heterozygous red that has no copies of the lily white gene to a heterozygous red with 1 copy of the lily white gene. Only at 12.5% of the kids are going to be what we want, which is a red base lily white crested gecko. Another 12.5% of the kids are going to be red not lily white crested geckos. At 25% of the kids are going to be heterozygous red lily whites. Another 25% of the kids are going to be heterozygous red not lily whites. Another 12.5% of the kids are going to be just lily whites. And the final 12.5% of the kids are going to be not red not lily white crested geckos. Now this pairing might be the cheapest pairing that you can do to get red base lily white crested geckos, because a heterozygous red animal is pretty easy to find as long as they have the blush. It could be literally a $75 or $100 female that has just a blush on the neck, and then a lily white male that has a blush on the neck as well and does not have the highest coverage, or vice versa. And although this might be the cheapest way of doing so, it's probably not the best way of pairing up two parents with the purpose of making red lily white crested geckos. If you are a breeder that does not care about morph and just wants to sell and just wants money, this might be a good pairing for you because you have a good variety of kids that might turn out of this pairing. You can have red base animals, you can have red lily white animals, you can have lily white animals, you can have heterozygous red animals, and you can have animals with none of the genes. So yes, you get a lot of different options. However, if you are breeding especially for the red lily white crested gecko, you are probably going to be better off by breeding a red base crested gecko to a red base lily white crested gecko. Finally, the last pairing that I want to show you guys is this image that I recycled from my genetics video because I didn't want to redo the whole thing again with a new format, so the quality is a little off, but it should be enough for you to see it properly. It is a fully heterozygous for both of the genes to a fully heterozygous for both of the genes as well. That means that it is a big R small r big L small l to a big R small r big L small l. Therefore, we have 4 possible gametes for each of the parents, and 4 times 4 equals 16. Therefore, we have 16 possible letter combinations. The percentages are as follows. At 25% of the kids are going to be dead because they carry 2 copies of the lily white gene. Therefore, this is not a good pairing because you're pairing lily white to lily white, and this is not something that we want to do. It is not ethical, and I've said it a million times, and I'll continue to say it every time that I do a hypothetical lily white to lily white pairing, just to show you guys how ineffective it is in most cases and how we do not want to do this. You're going to get a 12.5 of red lily white crested geckos, a 6.25 of red base not lily white crested geckos, a 25% of lily white blush crested geckos, a 12.5 of not lily blush crested geckos, a 12.5 of lily white not red not blush crested geckos, and a final 6.25 of crested geckos with none of these genes. Alright guys, that's all I have for today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like the channel, you can subscribe to our channel. You can comment below if you have any questions. We're also going to start a series on answering subscriber questions. There's a few questions that I've had in the past, like should I pair this male to this female, or what should I do basically. And I've been thinking that maybe I could open up like a chat for you guys, or you can just send us to our email admin@carebugs.com or our Instagram carebugs. You can send us some images and we can tell you maybe if we would do a pairing with these crested geckos that you have, or maybe I would go into another direction with the crested geckos that you have, and what would I do. As I've said, I am not the most experienced, but I would do it from a genetic point of view and a trend point of view. So I've not been in the game for a long time. However, I've been doing my research pretty much daily, looking at morph market and all those things, and I know genetics pretty much all that crested gecko genetics need. So if you have any questions, I can do my best to answer them, and hopefully you can get those questions answered by me and you can produce the geckos that you want. So thanks for watching again. If you like it, like the video. If you like the channel, subscribe, and if you have any questions, comment down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.